And so we begin the review of Chapter 12 of A Course of Love, The Origin of Separation. He starts out this chapter by telling us love is the answer. And of course we've heard that adage for a long time, and I think part of us believes that, but the mind has trouble with it. The mind says, I really don't like hearing that. I've heard it before. I've tried it. It didn't work. I know love's important, but here's the evidence. I'm still not happy. And I live in an unhappy world. So how can love be the answer? I've already known that. I've tried it. And I still don't have the kind of happiness I'm looking for. The question arises then, why didn't love work? The answer is that you have the free will to turn away from God's creation. You've tried your idea of love, but you limit who, what, and how you love. You've been loving as it is understood by the mind, and therefore you've been trying to love the illusion. And in verse 4 he tells us how that's intrinsically flawed. Yet you must understand that nothing that is not part of God is worthy of joining, nor can join with you. Now we've been taught that love, as it actually is, coming from the heart, is actually a joining. And what he's telling us here in this verse is the illusion can't join with you. So while the premise, love is the answer, is absolutely correct, we have tried to use that answer within the world of illusion, and it's just not capable of fulfilling itself on that level. You are exhausted from trying to make it work. You want rest and quiet joy, safety, and certainty of heart. And of course we all want that. It takes so much effort to keep this whole illusion in motion and to try to make the whole thing work. In verse 6, God's will for you is perfect happiness, and of this you can be certain. To align your will with God's is but to make this certain state your home. Now that's a promise. This is but a wish come true. And when it is all you wish for, it will come to be. And in the granting of this wish will come your rest and the laying down of every heavy burden you have carried. So here he is telling us, when that's the only thing you want, you will have the motivation, the willingness to give up your will and align your will with God's will for you, which is perfect happiness. At this point, you've been trying to do it on your own, and it's exhausting, and it doesn't work within the structure that you're functioning. This course will reestablish your identity. You're going to find out who you actually are. And it's not who you think you have been, who you thought you have been. In order to do this, you are merely being asked to remove all the changes you think you made to God's creation. So, whereas we've been coming from this perspective of I need to create something that works, we're being told here that no, God's creation is perfect as it is. The only thing we're being asked to do is to remove the things that have kept us from seeing and living within God's creation as it really is. And in verse 9, this theme recurs and recurs and recurs throughout this course. And those of you who have studied the Course in Miracles will recognize the same thing from A Course in Miracles. And it seems to be something that we understand on a thought level, but we don't really get what it means. So listen closely in verse 9. Reestablishing your relationship with your brother is what will show yourself to you. You have one brother who wears but many faces in your perception of who he is. And while you know him not, you cannot know yourself. This is the one joining that needs to occur to bring about all the rest. So what happens here is that we recognize that we are not separate. And when that recognition is not just a belief, but it's a knowing, then the rest unfolds. And we're going to get some further instruction in that. In verse 22, the idea of separation changed nothing in reality, but became a drama acted out upon a stage so real that it seemed to be reality. And in verse 25, the Son extended himself into creation, and you are that extension, and as holy as is he. So let's look at that. You are the Son, the Son's extension into creation. Word symbols are all that seem to separate Father, Son, and Holy Spirit from creation or from each other. So in this world of illusion, within this dream, in order to experience the impossible experience of being separate, the Son still, in his magnificence, has created the opportunity to have the experience, even though it's not possible. So now that you are in a place where you are ready and willing to know who you really are, it's time to undo all of those ropes that have bound this thought system together, so that you can clearly see yourself and know that there is no separation on an actual experiential level. And that is where you are being taken through this study of this course.